Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're out here on the water in the 420 Renegade. Today we're filming the walkthrough episode to finish off the build series on this boat. So today I'm going to be taking you through the ins and outs of this boat, a review of the 60 Tatsu, a review of the hull itself. I'm going to be running through every nut and bolt on this boat, and hopefully giving you guys a good in-depth look on what I've done to the boat and what you guys could do to your 420 Renegade. So stay tuned and cue the montage.
I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
So up the front here, you'll see I've got a Minn Kota 48 pound 55-inch shaft. I'm not sure what year model it is. I think it's 2013. It came with the boat when I bought it. It's in pretty good condition. I'm not going to change it to any other unit. It goes well. It's got full spot lock capabilities, which I might have been on for this whole video. So we got spot lock. It's got heading hold. It's got the rabbit button, which sends you flat out in the direction you're heading. It's got start stop for communications with your sounder. It's got all the usual things that a Minn Kota iPilot has, and I think it's a great unit, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. The iPilot is powered by a 105 amp Powersonic AGM battery. So the battery's mounted down here in the front with a strap over it. As well, as you can see, I've got a isolator, just a heavy duty circuit breaker. That's to isolate the battery if it has a power surge or trips out. It'll trip there rather than blowing up my battery or blowing up my Minn Kota. So you just press this button and that shuts off the power. Turn that back on and we're back running. Up the front here, you'll see we've got the anchor well, it's standard Quintrex anchor well. Just got my bow rope in there. In here we've got the small red plastic anchor that just goes in a little old Sea-Doo wet bag. It's perfect for in here. I don't use the anchor that much because I've got the spot lock on the iPilot. Just got a pair of thongs in there, and you just you chuck your rubbish or whatever in there for the day when you pick up rubbish out of the water and stuff. As you can see on the front, we have some sea deck or some foam decking. So this is from eBay, 65 bucks a sheet. I did it myself. Not exactly happy with the job I did, but it'll do. I can't justify spending another 60 bucks on it just to do it again. Works great. It does get quite dirty, but does wash off very easily with soapy water when you wash the boat. So up the front here, I've got my JBL Bluetooth speaker that's permanently mounted there. That is mounted with some eyelet eye hooks that are screwed into this front board here, and then some custom cut bungees with quick release hooks on them, just like this. So if I ever want to pull it out when I wash the boat or pull it onto the beach, you just go like this, and it pulls out just like that. So that's JBL Charge 3. It's super loud, and I'd 100% recommend running one of these. So my front hatch here is the only hatch I have with a strut. That's on a gas strut that originally was a 20 kilo rated gas strut that had failed, and I found it laying around, and I thought it'd be perfect for this because it's a really light hatch. Obviously the strut length is about 200 mil, which is perfect for the opening of this hatch. As you can see, when the speaker's mounted there, the hatch doesn't foul on the speaker. So in the front compartments here, as you can see, heaps of deck space here on the brand new decking that I've done, the brand new carpet and form ply that you would have seen in the last episode. So under these hatches, what I store is we've got my net, my landing net. We've got a container that's full of that's got my flares, first aid kits, some tape, those kind of things. There's little last minute things you might need, like rags, all that. Just got some tackle trays in there. There's about 10 in there at the moment. A bag of all my soft plastics. This hatch has my life jackets in it. The reason I've got the life jackets on this side is because the rods poke through the rod holder on this side. So that's why they're in there, because we don't want anything heavy on there smashing the rod tips. Around these hatches I've got some just some cheap Bunnings foam sticky back. I think it was like $7 or something, and I just thought I'd try it, hopefully try and keep a bit of water out. I will probably try some foam like some demold foam rubber or D-rubber, and that might help keep the water out. It haven't got that wet so far, but in saying that, I haven't given it a proper hosing for it to kind of saturate in water. So one of the major modifications I've done in this boat is the rod locker. The rod locker is made out of 40 by 20, 2mm thick alloy rectangle. That's the frame of it. I've got a couple other right angle, 40 by 40 right angle brackets I've made up to help support some things, and it's just so I don't have to weld it into the boat, because I am planning on putting an underfloor tank in this boat. So being able to pull the rod locker out is going to be perfect, because it's completely removable and I don't have to worry about that when fitting the underfloor tank. The rod locker has 3 hinges. It's just got the 2 bungee clips here that hold it up, one down the back. It doesn't, as you can see, the seat does not interfere with it at all. You can sit down on there and you can still open the hatch fully like that. Down in that rear, I've got 4 rods currently. I've had 7 in there without any issues whatsoever. I've got no permanent fixings in there. They're all just rods thrown in there, and I usually use rod socks to help protect the tips and that kind of stuff, and also reel covers if I've got the opportunity. On this main, one of the main support struts, I've got just some of the excess sea deck foam decking. That helps with the rod smashing on the alloy and stuff like that. It really helps them be protected. On the top of the deck, we have a bungee there and a bungee at the back. That's for when you're doing a bit of run and gun fishing like I like to do, and you can just run a couple rods on the deck here. The deck fits 3 rods on it with these custom bungees that I've made, the same as I have used on the front. You just undo that and you pull it out of the back one and clip it back in when you need to put your rods back down. Personally, I'm not a big fan of running rods up in the air. I don't like it. I've never been. That's just the way I am. I don't like it. I don't ever put rods in rod holders unless I'm trolled. So having a rod locker and top deck storage was a big thing for me. The rod locker can fit, so far I've had a 7-foot rod in there. It all really depends on where you put it. At the end of the day, the rod's just going to curve around the same with the boat. So the limitation really is probably a 10-foot surf rod, which I'll never use in my life. So there's plenty of space in the rod locker. If you've got any questions about how the rod locker was built, let me know in the comments. I can do a more in-depth video on how I built it. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of when I was building it, so I'll be able to answer every question though in regards to how I built it and stuff. I've just got a cup holder mounted here. That's for your passengers' drinks, and then here is a bit of breezeway with some screws in it as a little pouch for your phones, wallets, pliers, sunscreen, whatever you want to put in there for the passenger. The deck is a 12mm marine form ply with some dark grey marine carpet on it, just called dark grey. I'm not sure what brand it is. I got the stuff for the rod locker, I got that from Whitworth's, and the rest of it was built down at Tab's Boats in Yatala. So that's the stuff they use. Alright, so moving down to the business end, this is where I sit, where my passenger sits. These are Relaxin Deluxe Bay Series seats. So they take up the same mounting on the bottom as the original Quintrex seat post, which is the one I'm sitting on. The boat only came with 1 seat post and a dodgy seat. I took the seat off straight away, threw it in the bin, and bought these seats. Mate of mine, Ryan, made me up a custom seat post, which I believe I've cut them both down to, I think, about 550 or 520 from memory. That gives me the perfect reach with my tiller, and you don't feel like you're too high up in the boat. The seats have got pouches on the back, which I will never use ever. Seats are super ergonomic, super comfortable. They've got this grey look with some carbon fibre, which matches the rest of the boat, being grey. And I just love sitting. I could sit in them things all day long. Down on the ground here, we've got my 2 oars. This is working out perfectly for me. It's super simple. We've just got 1 C-clip here that holds the oar in, and then another one behind it, which is just jammed under the fire extinguisher, and the other oar holds it in place. So only 2 holes needed in the floor, which means less things to leak and make it rot. On the rear deck here, I'll show you what I've got going on down here. It's nothing too special. There's a couple modifications. Down here under this main center hatch is your batteries, bilge pump, float switch, your bait tank pump, main battery, all that kind of stuff that's down there on a usual boat. Over here, we've got the Quintrex original bait tank, the cutting board on the top. Got the bait tank pump that pumps in there, and when it reaches over the top of this pipe, it just flows out the back on the outlets. Under this compartment here is a bit custom. This is where I've cut out the original Quintrex tray and removed some of the foaming and made an easy access spot with a false floor in it to fit a 10-litre jerry can. So far I've only put one 10-litre jerry can in there, but I'm confident I'll fit 2 in there, so that'll give me another 20 litres of extra fuel that I don't have to put on the deck. So the back compartment holds the fuel tank, fuel filter, and my NEMA network, which you guys have seen in another video. The fuel filter came with the boat. I'm just running that. I'm not sure the specs on it. The fuel tank is just a standard Tohatsu 24-litre tank that runs into the fuel filter and then into the motor. So far that's been ample. I am looking at a 40-litre Scent Marine underfloor poly tank. I have noticed I do need a bit extra fuel, but I probably won't do that until I go on a bit of a bigger trip. I'll run you through some of the performance stats on this and some of the general features of it, because it's kind of an underrated engine. I don't see many people running these 60s or the 4-stroke Towies. It's not as common as your Yamahas and your Suzukis. And I think that's just because the main guys that sell these 420 Renegades and the Quintrex hull, no one's really a Tohatsu dealer. There's not as many Tohatsu dealers as there is Suzuki and Yamaha and Mercury. So they are a little bit less common on the water. So some of the general features of this motor is, we'll run through a couple of those. One of them being the NEMA 2000 capability, so that's your engine data and all that, so you can get revs, fuel rate, fuel economy, engine temp. Another main feature I liked on this one is how user-friendly the tiller is. It's got the big gear stick here on the tiller, as well as key turn and ignition all on the tiller as well, with trim and your alarm beepers. Another thing on this motor that I use a lot and I really find great is the tiller lock, so the tiller doesn't spring back. I'm not sure how many other models do that. I know the old 2-strokes have always sprung back on the throttle. This one doesn't, so you can leave it wide open throttle, and it's really super ergonomic. You're not hurting your hands holding the throttle wide open. As well as it's got the steering dampener lock, which I know a lot of outboards do have, but it's super underrated feature on outboards, especially a big tiller steer with a deep V hull. It can be a bit of a handful to run if you're in the chop. Your arm can get a bit sore, so that really takes your arm, the arm pump out of it, which is great. So I'll run you guys through some of the performance stats, which is what everyone wants to hear about. How this motor goes, fuel economy, all that, which is obviously the stuff that I wanted to look for when I was looking at outboards and what to choose for this boat. There wasn't much on the Tohatsu, so hopefully this will give you guys an insight if you are looking at the Tohatsu. I'm not sure how far apart all the competitors are in terms of fuel economy. This particular boat with me in it, or with this motor, my cruising speed is around in between 42 to 45 k's an hour, depending on headwinds and tide. At 44 k's an hour, 45 k's an hour, my fuel economy is around 3.5 to 4 litres, 4 kilometres per litre. Obviously that's a half a kilometre difference, but that's just to do with the tides and wind and whatever fishing gear or eskies I have in the boat. So the best I've seen at 45 k's an hour is 4 kilometres per litre, which I think is great. That's really good. And the fuel rate at that speed, I think it's burning at maybe 10 or 12 litres per hour, which is not too bad, but the main concern for me is that fuel economy overall average. This prop is the standard Tohatsu prop. It's a 11.1 inch diameter and a 14-inch pitch prop. It's alloy, 3 blade, standard one that comes on this motor. I have tried other props like a 15 stainless, and I'm yet to find a prop that's going to give me the bottom end grunt that this motor has on this boat. No, I don't think, I've never driven another tinny that can compare to the grunt this thing has out of the hull. The whole shot is lightning fast, and I think it's perfect for if I've got 2 or 3 blokes in the boat and I want to head out the bar. I'm not going to have to worry about putting the throttle down and not being able to go anywhere and getting swamped by a wave. So that's my main reasoning for not bumping up prop size. The top speed of this thing, the fastest I can get it to go is 55 k's an hour. I had a 15 stainless on there that did 58 k's an hour, and the loss of grunt and it wasn't enough to justify the extra 3 kilometres. In terms of lighting on this boat, I have the 2 nav lights, of course. And I've also got an anchor light at the back here, which is on the fold-up bracket. Those lights are controlled from down here at the panel underneath my feet. That switch panel there. So we've got down here, we'll talk about this down here, we've got bilge pump, anchor light, which is the back one, running lights, which is the navigation lights, your red and greens, and then we've got cockpit lights, which we'll talk about a bit later on, and bait take pump. We've also got twin USBs and a 12-volt socket there too. So I'll talk a bit about the sounder I got on the boat. The sounder is a Lowrance HDS 9 Gen 1, so it's not the new one with all the HDS Alive and that kind of stuff. So I'll run you through a couple of things I got set up. I've got my info panel. This is the main one I run when I'm running along, when I'm not fishing or something like that. We've got a second dash, which is just the old school gauges, and dash 3 is the same, that's just a duplicate. We've got no chart card in it at the moment, I'm yet to get one of them. Sonar, so it's got your traditional sonar, it's got a traditional sonar transducer on the transom as well. We've got side structure scan, which I think is great, and that also has its own transducer on the transom. And you've got what else we have? We have my other. This is my kind of my running panel to look at with my info screens, as well as having the traditional sounder. If I was going down, you know, going kind of half speed, I still want to know some engine data, but it wasn't that important to look at the depth. That's what I run. Pretty much my favourite part of my 420 Renegade would have to be the vinyl wrap that I've got going on there. The vinyl wrap is a 3M Gloss Storm Grey. I absolutely love it. It gives it that sleek look, super clean and tidy, not too wild. I've seen a couple of guys with big fishes down the side. That's not my thing. I prefer to go with the clean look and to make the rest of the boat look super simple. So I got the custom rego stickers on there, and the wrap was done by Joel at 53 Designs. He did an absolutely mint job considering the condition of the boat. It was pretty average, and the fact that he got it on there is awesome. On the back we just got the new Quintrex sticker on there, that kind of stuff. All the little things that really add up with this boat. Righto guys, I think that's the end of today's episode. Thank you very much for watching this episode, and thanks very much for supporting the rest of the episodes of my channel of building this boat. Really appreciate the comments, all the positivity and the questions. It's really good. If you did like today's video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave us a comment and subscribe, share it to your mates. You know what to do. Really helps support the channel, so I appreciate all that. Righto guys, time to head home. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
What we do here is go back.